Slaughterdaughter's a badass bitch. As you were. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Slaughterhouse. Thanks for hopping over here. We are live.
We've got some people in the chat already.
Hey, Josh. Hey, Ryan.
What a great picture. Wow. Nice.
Cheers. Cheers.
Cheers. Got my cheers.
It is a little bit crackly again, but it's not the worst.
All right.
More storms coming.
I can hear some thunder. I don't know. So, yeah, we went to see G.I.Joe the movie when it premiered for the first, well, I thought it was the first time in theaters, but apparently they had a little showing of it in Connecticut.
Right.
Back in the 80s.
Milford, Connecticut.
Milford, Connecticut. But so we went to see it in Charlotte on the Thursday that it was out. They
Right.
showed it on a Thursday and a Saturday throughout the country.
Mm-hmm.
We got to go on Thursday.
I got a lot of feedback that a lot of people want to go see it because it was actually the first time at a motion picture theater building.
That anybody could go see, not
Go
just
see.
a special.
Right. It wasn't just
Showing.
on television or on a DVD. So it's really cool.
Yeah.
We had some pretty cool seats too.
Yeah. We were right smack dab in the middle.
There we are.
Yep.
7
That was after the show. We went to well, there was only one showing that day, the 7 o'clock. We went to that. We went to dinner first at a delicious Thai place.
Right. Was good.
Yeah. And then
We'll come back to that image.
And I think my favorite part of the whole evening, from start to finish, was when we got in, we were late, of course, because we're always late. And so the movie had already started. And so we go in and it's dark and we go to our seat and sit down, and I've got my son and his friend with us, and then my dad's on the end. So my dad and I are like bookends between the boys are between us. And I turned to look to say something to my dad, I think to tell him the seat reclined, to tell him that he could recline his seat. And I could see a guy in the row going,
That would have been me too.
and I was just like, and I tried to like get him to look at me so I could be like, yes, it is. It is who you think it is. Because you could tell he was like, is it? I don't know. Is it? I don't know. I don't know. Holy shit. Holy shoot. Holy shoot.
Yeah.
So I think that was my favorite part.
Yeah.
The whole thing.
Kinda, as I walked by him, he kind of gave me that look from me. He was watching me as I went to my seat. And from that point on, he didn't take his eyes off me. I think the whole show. But it was fun. It was a fun time.
Yeah.
He acknowledged this as soon as the movie was over and we got up.
He asked, he went first because we're filing out. So my dad goes by and the kids go by and then I go by and he goes, hey, is that? And I went, yes, it is.
He couldn't believe it. You know, it's like, wow, can't believe he's here at this movie.
Yeah, it was
Could
really
you
cool.
imagine that though? You're going to go see G.I. Joe the movie, which is very Sarge prominent, and the Sergeant Slaughter, real life Sergeant Slaughter, is there watching the movie with you. That would have blown my mind.
Yeah.
Got several pictures on Twitter of people that took pictures of me after the movie with the marquee in the background, just like you just showed, and they're all like, "Oh my God, I can't believe that you were there. That we want to see this, and you were there." And of course, the next Saturday it was showing in Oklahoma, where I was appearing, but it was on at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, so we couldn't go see it.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
And a lot of people came from the movie to the appearance and said, "We just saw you on the movie. We saw you at the movie."
That's
So that's
great.
pretty fun.
Because you had planned on going
Yeah, we
to
had planned
the
to go.
Oklahoma City one.
Yeah,
Mm,
yeah. I kept telling
that's
people,
bad.
I'll just say,
kind of teased them a little bit. I said, if you happen to see me at your theater, the popcorn's on me.
oh, nice.
Like, you know,
Where's my popcorn?
yeah. So we'll have a rematch on all that. I'm sure we'll air again sometime.
And we got a
Hey,
high side
Facebook
from.
user.
I just want to say real quick, if people are watching on Facebook, you do have to give. You don't have to do it, but if you want for us to know who
Us
you
to
are,
know who you are.
yeah, if you do want us to know who you are, you just have to give StreamYard permission to use your name. It's not, you don't have to. By all means, do comment, leave a like. Everyone that's jumped over from the Slaughterhouse onto this channel, can you please leave a like on this channel and subscribe? That would be much appreciated, I'm sure. Kelly?
Yes, please. Thank you.
So I guess we answered that one. I guess a lot of fans came up to you, right?
Yes, they did. Quite a few of them, and
There was
lots of pictures.
dad with his boys, with his two sons there, and they were
Right.
dressed up like Cobra.
Yeah,
Uh-oh.
And he had
Nixon twin.
yeah,
Oh, cool.
and he had a shirt, a Sergeant Slaughter shirt on that said Addie's disease. And my friend and training partner went to the movie also, and she got there before us. And so she was like, there's some kids dressed up like Cobra. Can I please tell them your dad is coming? And I said, sure, go ahead. And so she told them, and the dad was like, are you serious? Oh my God. And she goes, oh, so you know who he is? And she doesn't. And he was like, hello, do you see my shirt? Yes, I know who he is.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And of course, I had to take pictures of it on the marquee because you never know if they're ever going to be up there again.
Maybe the 40th.
So yeah, never know. Or the 50th. If you guys can keep me alive for 10 more years, we'll do the 50th.
Keep taking your vitamins.
Keep taking my vitamins. But you know, so much fun went into doing that movie, and
Yeah.
to know that it was 35 years ago. I mean, it's pretty incredible, and all the things that happened then, before that, during the movie, after the movie. I don't know if I ever told you the story that Kelly's mom and I were coming back from doing the movie, our lines for the movie in LA. And when we got to the airport, we were, of course, up on a plane that had, it was a Pan Am plane. I don't think they fly anymore, but
No, they haven't been around for quite some
a
time.
Pan Am. And a first class, of course, they have a bottom floor and then they have a top floor. And we were on the bottom floor. And when I went to get our seats, I saw that Diane and I weren't sitting next to each other. They had one seat, and then two all the way back. It was like 10 rows. So I was in that front seat with a wall right in front of me. And so I said to the gentleman at the counter, I said, do you think we could get our seats changed so I could sit next to my wife? And he goes, well, why don't you just go ahead and sit by her, and when the gentleman, whoever's in the seat that you're next to your wife, why don't you ask him, explain that that's your wife, and would you mind moving? I said, okay. So I just got done doing this movie with Don Johnson, Burgess Meredith, and all the voices of G.I. Joe and Cobra. And so I'm feeling pretty good about myself. I got a newspaper. We got about a 6-hour flight, and we're living the life of Riley. Just before that, we got out of a Rolls Royce. We went up and down Rodeo Drive. And
Right.
it had a nice dinner at a restaurant. I mean, we were living high in the hog.
Living
This
the
is
high
it.
life.
This was it. So I'm reading my newspaper, and people are kind of looking at me like, you know. So all of a sudden, here comes this gentleman. He's got a headset, and he goes, "Excuse me, sir, could I see your ticket?" And I said, "Yeah, here's my ticket." He said, "You're in the wrong seat." I said, "Yeah, I know. I was hoping that," and before I could explain it, he said, "Sir, I would appreciate it if you would go to your proper seat." It just like blew me off, and I'm like,
well, who the hell are you to tell me?
Don't you recognize me? Or, I was like, I was just really bent out of shape, and I looked at Diane and I said, "Well, I guess I gotta move." She says, "Oh, okay." So I'll explain it to him once he sits down. So that wasn't the guy. That wasn't the guy that was sitting there. So I begrudgingly get all my newspaper and all the stuff I had taken out of my bag, and I move up to that one.
You had to make a big deal out of it.
Big deal out of it. So now I got my back to the door because I don't, I'm not turning around for anybody. I'm PO'd.
Yeah.
And so I hear this big commotion going on, and all of a sudden, now Diane is telling me. Diane jumps out of her seat and runs up to me, and I'm reading my newspaper. She said, Bob, you'll never guess who's sitting right behind you. And I could hear the voices. And I heard the voice, and I said, Liberace? Why, that son of a gun, he made me move, that Liberace son of a gun. And all of a sudden she said, no, it's former President Nixon. I said, what? Former President Nixon. So this guy, the Secret Service guy, goes, ma'am, will you please go back to your seat? So Diane goes, oh yeah, okay, I just, So she jumps in her seat, and this Secret Service guy sits down. President sits right behind me. He's in the row behind me on the window, and another Secret Service on the aisle. So Diane tells me this later. She said, we're sitting, getting ready to take off. And all of a sudden, this Secret Service guy says to her, do you know anything about professional wrestling? She goes, yeah. Do you know Sergeant Slaughter? She said, yeah. He says, I think that's him right there. She said, it is.
And you're in
his seat.
Oh, wow.
He goes, what? He was sitting here, but they made him move up there. And he said, oh my gosh, is there any way once we take off and we're in the air that you would mind moving up there and letting him come back here? And she said, well, I guess I could. So all of a sudden now I hear, Mr. President. Yes. Sergeant Slaughter. What? Sergeant Slaughter, what do you mean? Sergeant Slaughter sitting in front of you. And I got the newspaper, and I turn around, I go, hey. And he goes, oh my God. And I take my seatbelt off, and we're ready to take off. And he goes, oh my God, you are the greatest American hero of all time. I'm trying to imitate Nixon, but I'm not doing a very good job. So anyway,
I was convinced. That's definitely Nixon. Yeah.
Anyway, we take off and we eat, and Diane wanted to see how we had a breakfast because we were doing a red eye, and he had a banana, and she wanted to watch and see how a president would eat a banana. How he would take.
How do you eat it?
How do you take the
peel off?
Peel off. So he did it with a knife, and used his fork and all that kind of stuff. So anyway,
a knife and fork to open a banana?
Yeah. Eventually we get in the air, and we were all done eating, and then Diane switches seats, and I go back, and about 6 or 7 of us are all talking wrestling stories. And he said, Sergeant Slaughter, when you were wrestling the Iron Sheik in that boot camp match in Madison Square Garden, my whole cabinet was watching that match. And when you stood up and did the Pledge of Allegiance, we all stood up and did it with you. You're a real American and a real American hero. And I said, Yo, Joe. So anyway,
Former President Nixon.
that was
Stood up.
something that happened on that particular trip, and so he said, "Could I, bother you for a couple of photos? Could you have any photos with you?" I said, "Yeah, I have a couple of photos." He said, "My grandsons are huge fans of you," so I gave him a couple of autographs, and everybody else that would come up, the captain, and the stewardesses, and people in first class, they only gave them a card, and they would have to send them the card, and they would send a picture back. So when we got up to leave, we had to go off first so that he could go down the stairs and get into a car and not go through the terminal. And he gave Diane and I an autographed photo of himself, and that we still have, of course. And
nice. I was going to ask that.
It's one of those things that happened during the making of that movie, something
That's
crazy
amazing
stuff.
But he's not the only president that you've met.
No, I've met 8 presidents.
I just want to acknowledge some of these chats real quick. So Magnificent Kaboom has both liked and subscribed to this channel.
Thank you.
Josh Super Duty
Thank
12
you.
liked and subscribed. If you haven't already, guys, it would be much
Thank
appreciated. Steve Loveday says, Sarge, I have your sealed mail away, Joe. The copy Bill Merkley.
No way. Do you have it still in the box? It says sealed. I was wondering if you still have the box.
Well, we will.
Oh, are you talking about the recent one? The one for.
No, I'm talking about the original mail away one. Steve's got an awesome collection of G.I. Joe as well, including some memorabilia, Sergeant Slaughter memorabilia, including the shampoo.
Wow. Yes.
Yeah.
I was just presented a bottle of the shampoo 2 days ago. Someone gave it to me.
Nice.
I have an empty bottle. My daughters happen to use it. The shampoo in it.
I think we thought it was bubble bath.
It is bubble bath.
Yeah, you said it's bubble bath.
It's bubble bath.
I mean, it's bubble bath.
I still have the bottle, but I don't have any bubble bath in it, so it doesn't make it as valuable. But now I have another one that's full.
So Bill was the sculptor, according to Steve. Steve knows his stuff. It was the original mail away.
The original, the one you couldn't buy the Sarge. You had to earn them. 5 proof of purchase certificates was how you got that.
Steve is in New Zealand.
Oh,
all
New
the way in New
Zealand.
Zealand.
Wow.
And he said the sculptor, every Joe that he would sculpt, they would send him one.
Wow.
And so that he has the one that was sent to the guy that sculpted it.
Oh.
Wow. Yeah.
So he doesn't
So
just have a sealed mail away.
Wow.
He's got a sealed mail away that was
given to the sculptor. Quite a collection there, my friend.
Oh yeah. I'll have to get you to throw a picture on Facebook, Steve, so we can pass that on so Sarge can take a look at it. So Facebook user who, if I look on here, is Joseph. Joseph is a good friend of the channel, and he has quite a collection too. He's trying to get a Canadian file card signed, so he'll have to try and figure out how to make that happen one day. And another Canadian, Super Duty 12, Josh Hagan.
Dad, when people want to have something signed and they are not able to come to a Comic-Con or an appearance that you're doing, is there a way for them to be able to get something signed?
The best way is to send it to my business agent, Paul Inserto, to his office. We have a special place that we have things sent to, that like at shows when we get done and people get there late or missed us, they'll ask the promoter to get some things signed.
Oh, cool.
I'll have them all sent to Paul Inserto, and we take care of it that way. A lot of people, to this day, I still get probably maybe 10 to 15 requests a month in my mailbox. I know Kelly's received some.
I received stuff too.
Diane, my wife's received them.
No idea how people got my address.
I'm not sure how they get those things, but
He doesn't sign them,
I don't sign those.
so don't send it.
No, I don't feel that is proper to do that.
Nope, fair enough.
Yeah.
I'll stop sending them to Kelly. Sorry, Kelly.
Well, there goes the show. I'll sign them. Okay.
You just got to go through the proper channels.
Right.
So, Kelly, if later on you guys can work out the details, we might pin a post in the Slaughterhouse group so that people know where to send stuff to officially to get signed.
Do we have the address, or do you want me to just give his email?
We'll have to get the email.
We can work that out after the show.
Okay.
Here's a question from Josh Super Duty 12. Sarge, would you do a live action cameo or appearance in G.I. Joe?
I have been asked to be in each movie, but because of my affiliation with Hasbro and WWE's affiliation with Mattel, I've never been able to do the live action movies. The first one that came out had a cameo. In fact, all of the G.I. Joes had a cameo. And it was basically just a voice. And what they did is they had a locker room, and they had my campaign cover, my whistle, my swagger stick, and my boots, and my combat boots, and my fatigues hanging and folded like I was kind of retired. And then they ixnayed that because I wasn't able to do it. And then the next one I was supposed to be in, they had to rewrite the whole thing because they gave me the go ahead, and then it couldn't do it. So they had Bruce Willis play the character that would have been me. He was a general of some sort. But I would definitely do them if I'm allowed to.
I think it's definitely missing from any G.I. Joe movie after the animated one that you don't get to do a cameo at least. I understand the logistics behind different companies that not allowing to do it, but as a fan, yeah, it's a missed opportunity. So Ryan, good friend of the channel, Ryan, he says, the Sarge figure was the first mail-away figure I ever got. Those 6 weeks I had to wait seemed like forever, but what an awesome figure.
There was a big story behind that also. Hasbro had contacted my attorney and said, let Sarge know that if he gets a lot of people asking, where's my figure, let him know that we had a little glitch where we ordered 300,000 Sergeant Slaughter G.I. Joes, and we need 3 million, which isn't a bad glitch to have. It just that everybody had to wait a little bit longer.
Maybe order 2 or 3.
A lot of children were going to their mailbox and not getting it, But finally, I think they finally got everybody their Joes, their Sergeant Slaughter.
It's kind of similar with what happened with Balaverse in your first action figure.
Yes, same thing.
Just took a while to get them out.
Yeah. Well, that was also because of the barges out. They couldn't get them off the barges.
Right, the supply chain issues, but I'm just saying it's similar with having to wait so long.
Right. But I did a few I've seen about 10 of them over the I guess 40 years that I've been doing autograph shows and that I'm allowed to do. Now I can do all that I want, but I saw about 10 of the boxes come and get signed. Now, some of them still weren't even open, and they opened them there. They didn't even open them until they met me, and they took them out. And I was just like, I was trying to sneak one into my coat, try to get one for myself.
Yeah.
Got me of I don't know why I got about maybe 300 of them when they first came out. And I started taking them to shows, and I'm handing them out to people in the front rows. Hey, here you go. Here's a Sergeant Slaughter. I was so into it that I figured it would never come to an end. I didn't know the collection part of the business. And here I'm giving away all these things that are probably worth thousands and thousands of dollars today.
Great memory for those people in attendance, though.
And I've seen them in the plastic, not open. But if they're in the box and it's got the address and everything on there, that's worth a lot of money. And what makes them really, really valuable, even if you don't have the box, is if you have the swagger stick. Yeah, because that's the first thing everybody lost was that swagger stick.
Well, I got the box. I can't remember where I got the box from, but I got my first sealed mail away Sergeant Slaughter from Steve. In fact, Steve sold me a sealed Sergeant Slaughter. I only have one sealed, but I've got many, many, many. So we've got a question from Steve saying, I mean this comment in all due respect, but imagine being a teenager knocking on the door to ask to see Kelly years ago, and Sergeant Slaughter answers the door. I imagine many a teenager would have run for the hills. Well, there's a few interesting stories that come from, that experience.
Well, one of them was her husband.
Yes.
Game of courting.
I wasn't a teenager though, and I
lived
But we kept ourselves pretty much a family around our friends and schoolmates and neighbors. So we were always available. We weren't anybody to be scared of, but we did have a lot of strangers show up.
People knew who, if they were coming to talk to me, coming to my house to talk to me, they already knew who he was.
Right.
So, but I do remember a couple boyfriends getting a little scared with you.
Yeah.
Because you were mad at them.
Yeah.
And some just friends.
Yeah.
That some bad influences in my life.
Well, recently I scared off one of your girlfriends that was here at your house.
You didn't scare her off.
Well,
you were mean.
Evidently, I was.
Uh-oh.
I didn't realize that.
He was being mean to one of my friends.
We were just sitting down to have dinner, and she popped over, and I went, "Oh, we want."
Do we want to tell the story, Dad?
No.
Okay.
Do we want to apologize on the air?
Maybe you should apologize on the air.
No, I apologize. I think I already did apologize.
You did apologize to her. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Moving on.
Yeah. So we got a question from Josh asking if you've ever played the Street Fighter game, and would you be in a Street Fighter movie?
I've been asked that several times the last year.
Okay.
I'm not sure what Street Fighter is, but
it's a video game. Yeah.
Definitely be in it. Yeah. It's an
Street
Action
Fighter
Force movie.
Well, yeah, they're making an Action Force movie.
Are they really?
Yeah. So if you can't be in it, Wayne Maddie should at least give it a crack.
I hope so. I hope they use my character and use Wayne to be the Sarge. That'd be a real honor.
You know what would be really cool? If Wayne Maddie played a young Sarge and then it cut over to current time and you got to be Sarge as you are today.
That'd be
would be pretty cool.
That would be cool.
They're not asking for my opinions on the Action Force movie, but if they are,
but you'll let Bobby know.
Yeah, I'll let him know.
Good idea.
Slaughter needs to be in the Action Force movie.
I could just do a cameo. I don't need to be in that whole movie.
Yeah, that's too much work. Just pay you for a day, right?
Right. I just got done doing some of the movie for the realtor, and I'm telling you, I see why I didn't want to do movies. It's just hurry up and wait. It's like the military. Yeah. Hurry up and wait. I sat in a beautiful Winnebago one day for 10 hours and never even got on the set. Got there, just sat there, went through my lines, memorized my lines. Every once in a while, I'd walk in and see how they're doing. And at 10 o'clock at night, they came and said, "We're done shooting for the day. You can go back to your hotel." What? And now, of course, they're calling us and saying we need to do some more filming because we didn't get it all done.
You got the callback. You got the callback because it was on hold for a while, right?
Yeah. We only did 4 days of shooting, but that seems awfully short to do a movie in 4 days.
Mhm.
Right.
I figured we'd be getting called back
Mm.
because there's like 8 scenes that I never even did that
Right.
are in the movie. So I don't know what they're going to do. Plus, they messed up the finish of the wrestling match where my guy supposed to win the championship got pinned. So they had to redo that.
Reshoot.
Little issue there, yeah.
Oh, geez. So Kelly, Magnificent Kaboom asks if you will do a game show where you get to punch people with sound effects like Batman, I suppose. Pow!
I would love to punch people in the face and not get arrested. Sure. I would love to.
What a great game show.
Sounds like we got something
Pow!
brewing.
Pow!
Pow! Bam!
Kabam!
You're like the old Batman movie.
Grindhead Jim's in the house. How are you, buddy? I love G.I.Joe the movie with no caveats, and I love the Slaughterhouse. Reporting for duty.
All right, Jim. Welcome. Welcome to the Slaughterhouse.
Don't
You know,
forget
one
to
time-
Slaughterhouse.
Slaughter Daughter House. That's right. Don't forget to hit the classifieds giving bams. That's a big
Too many
bam.
shows. Doing too many shows.
Well, make sure you like and subscribe to this show.
Yeah.
This channel, the Slaughter Daughter channel.
Yeah.
One
We'll have to
time,
get you some shirts made.
One time I wanted to do a Sergeant Slaughter Breakfast with Sarge show on Saturday mornings, and I think we've talked about it before. Where I actually got a film crew, a one camera shot, and we did it. And I'll have to dig it out. I've been trying to find it for one of these shows, so one of these days you'll see it. And I don't think we could do it on television anymore because nobody watches television in the morning on Saturday. But it could be something they could do on either Netflix or maybe even on Twitter or social media. I don't know how they do those things.
Like
You
a
could
streaming
just go-
service.
Just go like week to week,
Yeah.
just not be on television.
Well, everything's streaming now. You don't have to be on TV. You're streaming right now.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
We can put it on the Slaughter Daughter channel.
There you go. So Steve asks, probably unlikely, but does Sarge know a wrestler called Red Wolf from New Zealand? I met him recently, and he used to wrestle in Japan with Andre the Giant. So that's pretty cool.
I've heard the name Red Wolf. Don't know that I know him. I probably have met him. Met a lot of wrestlers. And if he wrestled Andre the Giant, he had to be pretty good.
Right? Yeah. We have a question here. My apologies if this has been asked, but I was curious if Sarge has any fun stories about the recording process during the sessions of G.I. Joe the movie.
Oh, yeah. There were times when you just start laughing and you can't stop laughing because you're in the studio for 12 hours and you just get a little overtired and you start laughing and you can't get your lines and finally you just got to cut. That's it for the day.
Right.
But, a lot of fun things. Burgess Meredith was a lot of fun to watch and watch him work. And he just went right into the character of Globulus, and to see how easily he did it. I'm not a great reader, so sometimes it took me a little bit to get my lines right and to pronounce all the words right. And Don Johnson, of course, he had to play a younger character than himself, so that was tough for him, I believe. It just, every once in a while I'd hear that was good. That was good, Don, but you sounded too much like a sex symbol. I mean, but then when I watched the movie with Kelly and Rudy and his friend, he was kind of a sexy guy in the. Didn't you think Falcon was?
Yeah.
Because he had the girl, the girl that was first brought him in, but she was a cobra, you know.
Right. Yeah.
She kind of wined and dined him, but he was still, you know, trying to put the make on her. So I'm not sure what they were trying to get out of Don, but boy, he did a great job. I'd love to meet him again. I wish we could get together and do.
Oh, that would be cool. Yeah.
Something at the movie
like a
theater.
reunion.
Yeah, but we've lost Burgess, but it'd be wonderful to get together with Don again and maybe do something at a movie theater.
Yeah, that would be cool.
You know, announce it and promote it. That'd be great. I think he's in a series right now, a TV series.
Is he? Okay. I haven't seen him in anything in a long time, so that'd be cool if that's the case.
Big fan of his. Big fan of his. I loved his movies, and especially the Tin Cup movie. I loved that.
Oh, right. Yes.
His character in that Tin Cup was just great. Him and Kevin Costner.
Yeah, yeah. I like about 90% of Kevin Costner's movies. There's a few stinkers, but he's got some really good ones too.
Yeah.
So let's jump to this photo. This is a fantastic photo. I haven't got them here because I didn't want to show anyone else's photos without permission, but I did see a lot of other photos as well, with people standing around this area taking photos with you, getting Cobra clutches, a lot of different age groups as well, which is great.
Right. Kind of stayed right there so they could take a picture of the marquee.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it wasn't
after the show, right?
On the outside of the theater. It didn't have a marquee. Only there.
Oh, okay.
Because it's just a one night. It's just a one night showing. So I guess they pulled out Top Gun for a 7:00 show.
Put in the better movie.
I think we're pretty close to Top Gun, aren't we? They've only done $1 billion already.
Really? Well, I've seen it twice, and I would see it a third time.
Yeah.
Well, Kelly, you're showing your Top Gun right there.
Yeah.
I am showing one of my guns right there.
Right.
But you can't see it. I should have pulled my shirt sleeve up.
Yeah, there you go. Got to keep those things in mind. Of course, that shirt isn't really doing you any justice. That sleeve's pretty big on you.
Yeah. Not like the shirt I have on now. That's too small.
Right. That's Wayne Matty. There you go. Got to take advice from Wayne.
Yep. Wear a smaller shirt.
Yep.
So I got to ask then, at what point did people start to get the courage to come up and ask for photos and stuff like that?
Immediately.
Yeah. They were kind of standing around, and then I finally said, you can get a picture if you want. Like, it's okay.
Right. Nice.
Right.
But it was right away. They were hanging around.
Became kind of a drawn out, a longer night after that started.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad though.
No.
Lots of really cool stories hearing from your fans. It was cool.
Oh, yeah.
So, Phil, I like buttered salted.
Yeah.
And then I like to put peanut M&Ms in it.
Mm. We were in such a hurry to get into the movie that I didn't get all the butter I wanted on my popcorn.
I know, I didn't either. We were in a hurry because, you're in right away and everything. You're in the movie right away.
Kelly and her sister taught me years and years ago how to layer.
Layer the butter.
You tell them, just give me half a bag, and then you go put the butter on, and you take it back to them. They put some more on top of that, and then you put some more butter on it. So that
we don't have that sort of facility in Australia.
Your mouth
full of grease. It's not even movie theater butter. Isn't even butter. It's like oil.
Right. But it's running down. It's running down your chin, and it's down your neck, and it's all over your hand. It's great. I love
it. Shaking hands with a greasy palm.
But M&Ms in yours?
Yeah, peanut M&Ms.
I
put peanut M&Ms in my popcorn.
We'll have to go do that again. Let's go watch Top Gun.
Yeah, let's go. Okay.
See ya.
Bye. See you guys.
Thanks for trying. Getting hungry for popcorn.
Grindhead Jim, Sarge, thank you for all these stories. I know exactly what you mean about the giggles. Follow-up question: what do you think of Zazel's portrayal of you in the G.I. Joe Berg Renegade Saga? Another question about G.I. Joe Berg. Just so you guys know, this is part 2 of a 2-parter double feature. So we do have part 1 already on my channel. We are in just a little over halfway through part 2 on this channel. So if you've jumped over from there, please do hit the like button and the subscribe button on Kelly's channel. We still have some time, and Sarge has gone on record to say that I did the best Sarge impression that he's heard on a voice actor.
Yes, I've heard.
But he's up for an Academy Award.
He's got the best Sergeant Slaughter.
You gotta go like this.
Voice so far.
I'm just enjoying this. Thank you very much.
Basil, you gotta brush your shoulders off.
Right.
Yeah, but that just gets rid of my dandruff.
Oh.
From the hair or the beard?
Well, the beard's worse than the. Yeah, I'll tell you what. Beard dandruff is a thing. It's a real thing. It's a real problem. But here we are. Kelly, you'd love the butter and soy sauce popcorn in Japan. Ooh. Phil's in Japan, by the way.
Yeah.
I probably would. Yeah, Phil is in Japan.
Oh, wow.
He lives there.
He does.
Yeah.
He teaches English.
Nice.
He's from New Zealand, though, too. He's from New Zealand.
He's a Kiwi.
Wow.
He's a Kiwi
in Japan.
Well, I happen to love the wines from New Zealand. Your mother and I drink a bottle a night. Just
I'm sure you do, a piece.
Only with our dinner, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But I love it.
What were Slaughter Daughter's thoughts of the film? So it was the first time I'd seen it in its entirety because we owned it on VHS and I would just fast forward it to his part. So I didn't really watch G.I. Joe. So I didn't know what was going on. I just wanted to see my dad. And so watching it in its entirety was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. And it made me laugh. I was surprised. I thought, to be honest with you, I thought I was going to be a little bored in there, but I wasn't bored at all. I thought it was great. And is it Flint that spits, or somebody spits on a scorpion?
Oh, Mercer.
I thought that was hilarious for some reason. Yeah. My son was like, "What's so funny?" I'm like, "I don't know." He just spit. I found it so funny.
That was one of the renegades.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. Mercer, ex-Cobra Viper.
Yeah, the Cobra Viper. Yeah.
So I thought that was funny. I don't know why, but it was just funny to me.
It shows you how tough those guys were.
Just like he was spitting on and I was just like,
Scorpion animating that.
Yeah. And I liked it, but I did want to know, and I asked you, and you didn't know. So Zazel, maybe you know, but when he's going after Nemesis Enforcer, I believe, right? And you're jumping on him and you're going, this is for me, and this is for Bazooka, and this is for, and he names all these people. Why was he naming Bazooka? Was Bazooka in the movie?
Yeah. So earlier in the film, because of what Falcon did, Nemesis Enforcer and some of the other Cobras were able to infiltrate the Joe base. Yeah. And he injured Alpine, Bazooka, and Gung Ho, and so he's saying that this is for them because they were badly injured. They were almost wiped out basically.
Okay.
So
that might have been because we were late to the movie. Was that in the very beginning?
Yeah.
So we missed that part.
Yeah. Towards the beginning of it. Yeah.
Yeah, because then we must have missed it because I was like, why are you saying that? Like I get the whole.
And that's the reason. That's the reason Falcon was sent to the slaughterhouse.
Right.
Yeah, I knew he did something wrong that he wasn't supposed to do, and then he was getting sent to the slaughterhouse.
Yeah,
and also Duke in the beginning of the first script was died actually.
Yes, true.
Duke died, so we had to go back and redo that.
Yep.
Because they didn't want him to die.
Right. They didn't want him.
Well, there was a big backlash with the death of Optimus Prime in the Transformers movie, so they decided not to go down that same route and put Duke in a coma instead. But,
right.
Interesting
and
that
the whole theater was crying their eyes out. I'm telling you.
Actually, I do want to know.
when he gets hurt and they go, he's in a coma. My son keeps looking at me and finally goes, "Mommy, are you crying?" And I went, "No."
Did you cry?
He looked over at me and I was crying, so he wanted to see me.
Because usually when people die in the movie, I'm crying, and I was like, "No, I'm not."
This is a cartoon. It's fine.
Yeah, it's cartoon.
So I did want to know what was the crowd like while watching that film?
There wasn't a whole lot of cheering or.
I started to cheer when he came on, and no one else did. So I was like, "What?" Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was like, "Yay!
Yay! Here's Sarge."
Yo, Joe.
No one else thinks that's
Joe.
cool. Okay.
Oops.
I said her another time previously that my grandson reached over to me and he said, "Grandpa, are you sure you're in this movie?" It took a half hour for him to see me in the movie.
What did he think after he saw you?
I think he was pretty proud of it.
Yeah.
I think he liked it. At least he told me he did when I talked to him the other day.
Oh, good.
Yeah, he had a really good time. He thought it was really cool to see his grandpa up on the big screen like that.
Yeah.
He really hasn't seen any G.I. Joe episodes or anything like that.
No, I should get some of those.
You do. You need to. I'm sure he would like to see it.
Oh, yeah, the ones. I think
No
he
one
would
popped
enjoy the
Sarge
one
in the
sent
theater.
to Zazel,
No one. I popped for him.
the international one.
Yeah, I would have popped for sure if I were there. I would have gone, "Look, everybody, it's him! It's the guy!
In the theater right now! Whoa!
Here.
He said I'm really good at doing the voice."
Everybody was very courteous and didn't make much noise.
Hey, CG Ruthless Sports. I'll be seeing you. Is it next week? Soon. I'm getting on his podcast.
Oh, are you? Okay. Great.
Sarge, Slaughter, and Zazel eligible for the AACTA awards because of the Slaughterhouse Wrestling Championship. Well, Kelly's coming onto the Slaughterhouse Wrestling Championship as Slaughter, and I've sent Sarge some lines to do Super Cup whenever you have an opportunity. I did send it on Twitter, but you never read my Twitter messages.
Yeah,
I won't take it personal.
I do, but it's like 3 weeks later.
Tuesday on
Next
CG
Tuesday.
Ruthless Sports.
Yes.
I will be on.
Great stream. Yeah. So at the end of the movie, you guys the credits are rolling. You walk out. Were you always going to take a photo outside, or was that something that happened because other people were requesting photos?
I wanted to get a picture outside in front of the marquee. I usually do, like if it's a really good movie that I liked and I went with some friends, I'll get a picture outside the marquee. So I wanted to do it. And so we had stopped for me to really get the picture, but then I think I waited until everybody else was done with him before I got mine. Right? Am I remembering that correctly?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the last time I saw a movie was 1980. Went to a movie.
That's not true.
Wow.
We went and saw The Game together. That was in the 90s.
Yeah. 90s. Yeah. So I
I'm
got
not sure I remember that movie.
We saw Avatar.
I didn't see Avatar.
Yeah, we went and saw it together.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
In 3D.
Yeah, we saw it in 3D too.
That's right.
Yep.
We did see that.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine watching G.I. Joe the movie in 3D, and then you see that scene where he spits on the scorpion.
Yeah.
That'll put it in
I
your
don't know
eye.
why I found that so funny, but I got so tickled, and my son was like, "Why is that funny?" I'm like, "I don't know."
Did
It's
anybody
just
see G.I. Joe the movie on Blu-ray?
Yep.
On Blu-ray, is it a different look?
I mean, it's better than the VHS copy I had. But yeah, I mean, it's got a lot of behind the scenes stuff, commentary. I think what it's really lacking is a commentary track by Sergeant Slaughter. which I think was a missed opportunity.
Why?
Very big missed opportunity.
Why isn't that? Is because you were with WWE and they wouldn't let you?
Yeah.
So Grindhead, this is an excellent question by Grindhead Jim. He's like, looking at the film with fresh eyes, is there anything Sarge would have changed about his character's arc in G.I. Joe the movie?
Not a thing. I think they portrayed me as good as I'd want to be portrayed, because I basically after I beat Nemesis Enforcer, I was the man. I was the guy.
Yeah.
I probably, would have liked to maybe done something more at the end, more celebration, or rode off in the sunset in my Triple T tank or something like that. But I think the whole idea was for me to continue being in G.I. Joe at that point. So it wasn't like, thanks, Sarge, like Hopalong Cassidy or Roy Rogers or something like that.
Right.
I think it all was done very well, and talk to the writers of the movie and to the creators of it, and I think everything went just as they say to what they were looking for.
Well, I read the original script, and not only does Duke die, like you said, but there's actually more scenes of Sergeant Slaughter and the Renegades that didn't make the movie. So one of them is the initial meeting of the Renegades. Sarge actually has to whip the Renegades into shape to stop them from beating on Lieutenant Falcon. There's also an extra scene afterwards where they've left after they've blown up the Cobra base. There's a little bit more of a scene there when they're in hiding before the end battle. So there's a few bits and pieces still that and the Slaughterhouse scene, the training scene with you guys and Falcon is also extended in the script. So there's some stuff that they've cut, which I think would have been, as a Sarge fan, would have loved to have seen all of that stuff kept in. But right. If you just watch the parts that you're in, it actually makes a really good mini movie where you get Falcon, he trains at the Slaughterhouse, and then you guys have a successful battle at the Cobra Terradrome and send that crashing down to the ground. That's a great mini movie on its own, without the rest of the movie between it or on either end of it. I think those are the best parts, in my opinion. We've got Ruthless Sports, CG Ruthless Sports. What does the CG stand for, out of curiosity? CG Ruthless Sports says Sarge could have played other military movies, especially comedy. I think Sarge thinks he's funny.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
He does. He thinks he's very funny.
I thought I should have been in Toy Story.
Oh, yeah, that would have been cool. Yeah.
I wish they would have. If they ever do another one, I hope they'll come looking for me. But
that would have been cool.
That would have been a perfect... Yes, I have watched that. It's very funny because I'm a big golf fan and a huge Bill Murray fan.
Yeah.
Funny show. Very funny.
So I have a question about G.I. Joe and the movie and everything. So G.I. Joe the movie, was that it? Did they continue doing episodes of G.I. Joe?
So...
Yes, the animated movie, G.I. Joe the movie.
Yes, but not with the same... So you would have gone from recording your voice at Sunbow Studios for the original G.I. Joe run and for the G.I. Joe movie, but then the Sunbow series stopped after that. But what you saw recently and what you tweeted recently, Sarge, with the Operation Dragonfire, that's what happens after the movie.
Right.
So that was in Deke Animation. So it's a different animation studio, different... animators. It's not quite as good in quality as the Sunbow stuff, but Operation Dragonfire is probably the best of the Deke animation series. So if you watched that Operation Dragonfire, you are watching literally what comes after the movie.
Right.
So what happens to Cobra Commander?
Well, I don't want to give too much away, but if you watch Operation Dragonfire, you will see.
I'm not going to do that. but fine.
Oh,
Okay.
well, in that case, they end up they use the power of the dragon fire to make him as human as possible. So he does come back.
It's a different uniform.
I was a little shocked watching the movie that he helped the Joes and that the Joes accepted his help.
Right.
That they
Well, I mean, they had bigger fish to fry, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I used to be a man, or whatever.
Yeah, that's exactly how the line goes. That's exactly, you nailed it. Exactly that.
You got a future here.
That is the best Cobra Commander impression I've heard today.
Oh, today. Okay.
Today, at least today. But I think the scene where Cobra Commander starts to degenerate into that snake is pretty horrific. It's a pretty horrific moment. And then
you almost start to feel bad for him. And then you're like, but wait, this is Cobra Commander.
Yeah. Well, you won't feel bad for him if you watch Operation Dragonfire, because after he comes back to being a man, then it's back to active duty, back to being that. But Serpentor gets changed into a lizard, I think. What is it called?
Oh.
Someone in the chat tell me what they end up turning Serpentor into. I thought they turned him into a snake too, but I think it was another lizard-like animal.
It wasn't a serpent?
No, could you imagine that? Why wouldn't you have turned him into a snake as well? It's like a why am I forgetting it? Check it out on the Slaughterhouse. Yeah, I've got Operation Dragonfire, the complete series on the Slaughterhouse right now. It's an iguana. Thank you. They turned him into an iguana. So I want to let you in a little secret, Sarge. You tweeted me the Operation Dragonfire complete series recently.
Yes.
You actually tweeted me my own channel, but well, I appreciated it.
Hey, that's what you get when you mess with me.
Well, I mean,
you might be an iguana before it's over with.
Yeah, so
any exposure is good exposure, I guess.
I'll say. Oh, good. Phil's jumped on the iguana bandwagon.
I sent you the wrong.
You sent him a cup without the straw.
Yeah, true.
And he goes, fine. Hey, he comes to my house and he hands me a straw. I'm like, what's this for? He goes, for Zazel's cup. I'm like, the one we already sent him 2 months ago.
Sorry about that.
That's fine. Yeah. It's like some sort of, it's weird flex, but thanks.
Sarge did it.
Yeah, Sarge is very cool in Operation Dragonfire.
They used to be pretty strong. There for a few episodes. For maybe 5 minutes or so, I wasn't really in there too much, and I thought they forgot me. And then here I came. I came to the rescue.
You weren't in Operation Dragonfire episode 2, day 2. I don't think you're in day 2 of Operation Dragonfire, but you did come back. Right. Actually, that's a good question. Do you remember much about filming or recording your voice for the Deke animated series?
I do not. I just remember doing them. I don't remember much of it. I know it was a different script. It was a longer script and larger words, longer words, more difficult words.
Well, one of the things that the Deke animation did was bring in your sister as a character.
Right.
They don't name her as a person. She has no lines in it. Right. But yeah, you're hanging out with your sister in an episode called Pigskin Commandos.
Mm-hmm.
Regrettably, I have to start winding down for work tomorrow, but it was an absolute pleasure to spend some time with you all. Yo, Joe. Thanks, Grindhound Jim.
Yo, Joe.
Bye.
We're almost at the hour mark anyway, Jim, so you've nailed it as far as viewing the episode is concerned. You've hung in there for as long as we intended to record.
Yes. Thank you for hanging out with us.
Yes.
Thanks to everybody here for hanging out with us.
Yes,
today.
for all the great questions.
Yeah, really good questions.
These questions I haven't ever seen before or been asked before.
Which that's hard to do.
It is.
Yeah.
To send a question to me that I haven't had a chance to answer before. That's pretty cool.
Well, this has been a fun double feature. Great idea. We'll have to do it again. I think it's great to hang out if we're already going to hang out for a couple of hours, we might as well split the difference, right?
Right.
And so do check out part 1 if you missed part 1. If you're catching up on the back end of part 2, make sure you go back and watch that. Hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, share it to all your friends, and you'll be able to catch Kelly over at CG Ruthless Sports come Tuesday.
Yes. And get ready for Sergeant Slaughter's new action figure coming out for Hasbro. I'm guessing around October, I'm thinking.
Is there any? You signed a contract with Hasbro, didn't you? Was there anything you can tell us coming up with them?
Well, I'm going to try to,
without getting in trouble.
I'm going to try to drag it out for another 10 years so we do the 50th anniversary. And as I told them, you guys, kind of, behind, you work a little slower than most. So why don't we start doing the 50th, like in 2 years or 3 years, and by the time we get to the 50th, it'll be out, be ready. But no, it's been great. It's been good. I'm just happy to be back and be realistic. And
well, you keep making them. I'll keep buying them. Fun
so far to my my Comic-Cons and my autograph signings, and everybody is coming up and saying they just saw the movie and they're all getting back into it. And what's really fun is that the adults, I'm talking to adults, grandfathers are coming up to me and said, I watched you when I was a kid. And the fathers and the uncles and the aunts, and now they're bringing their children and their grandchildren, and it's just just kind of going
generational.
Right. Yeah, it's
right.
starting all over now. And we had a cute little girl come to Oklahoma.
Yeah, I saw that on Twitter.
And she just was the sweetest little thing, and she wanted to give me the fist bumps, and she couldn't get enough of me. And her I think it was her grandmother said, I think my granddaughter's favorite wrestler now is Sergeant Slaughter and G.I.Joe. And there's a picture of her just looking up at me with this big smile on her face.
That's great.
Just makes you feel great.
Yeah.
Makes you feel wonderful that it's all going in another circle. It's coming around, and a whole new generation is now watching G.I. Joe that watched me wrestle, and we're in the first G.I. Joe era. Now we're doing it all over again. It's like it's timeless.
Yeah.
Larger than life. I'll never perish. It seems like I'll always be here, whether I'm here or not. My character's going to be here.
It's going to live on for sure. A whole new generation now. So I do want to say thank you for doing the resurgence of Sergeant Slaughter action figure video that I did for Iconicon recently. And if you haven't checked it out, go and check out the latest episode on this channel where you guys are talking about road trips, wrestling, and rock and roll.
Yes. That was a fun one.
It's interesting to hear all these behind the scenes stories of what happens, the stuff that we don't know about, like the road trips. Oh, and the guitars in those cabinets, they look amazing.
Yes. I have those on the wall now since we talked.
Oh, you finally
cool.
got up?
Yeah.
Nice.
Starting to get my my room started.
Excellent. So yeah, definitely throw a picture of that up on Twitter if you can. I'd like to see it.
This question here, Mr. T was in the front row at L.A. Coliseum when I wrestled the Iron Sheik for the first time in L.A. He was in the front row. It was really fun. And I often wondered about the A-Team and Sergeant Slaughter, if that would ever happen. But
missed opportunity there as well.
They did get it going. but it could be done in animation.
That's true. That's true. I don't think Sarge would have to fight B.A. Baracus, but they would make a great team up for the A-Team.
Yes. We'd be a good team. That's for sure.
I think so. So is there...
I pity the fool. I pity the maggot.
pity them and then put them in a Diddy bag.
Right.
Diddy and Diddy. I think Magnificent Kaboom said that the other day. Someone said that the other day. I thought it was funny.
I saw a grandpa. Jack, one of our...
Oh, that was Magnificent Kaboom. It was a question.
Oh, gotcha.
He had already...
Yeah.
When Rudy asked, are you really in this movie?
Right. Yeah.
It was sad to hear about the Porsches that should have been Kelly's.
Yeah, the Porsche.
Hey.
The Porsche should have been mine.
It still could be. Never know.
I drive fast enough as it is. I don't need a sports car.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not even your car.
It's all.
You and I
would have been able to drive a stick. I'm sure it would have been missing.
Right? Worn down to a nub. It says here, you and Iron Sheik were creating heat together. Never understood why it happened, but you got over by beating Hogan for the title.
Yes. Yes.
And then one final comment.
I didn't beat Hogan for the title. I beat the Ultimate Puke, the Ultimate Warrior.
At the Royal Rumble.
See, they brought Hulk Hogan in to make him a champion because he needed to be a champion. That's how he could do his character better. Where I didn't need to be a champion, and the Iron Sheik didn't need to be a champion. We just had a natural Iran versus the United States. That's all we needed. We didn't need any titles.
What was it like with working with Pat Patterson?
Probably one of the greatest talents I've ever been in the ring with. He was a ring general, and I was a ring general. And the night that we had our match in Madison Square Garden, the alley fight, it was like the stars all lined up. And we just blew the roof off the Madison Square Garden, and they're still talking about it today. That was in 1981, I believe it was. And,
well, speaking of stars, you would have been seeing stars at the end of that one.
Yes. Yeah, I'll never forget that. The feeling, the burn of my head and all the blood coming out. Wondering how my wife was going to find me. What hospital in New York is she going to find me at? Because she was flying in to give me my birth certificate so I could go to Japan the next week. But it was one of those things still being talked about today. They say it was the greatest match of all time in Madison Square.
It is a great match.
Yeah.
One of the best. WWF would run 2 shows at night. Hogan and the tag champs in one building and Sarge Sheik in another, both sold out. Yep, I believe it.
That's the way it was. The Iron Sheik and I went off and did one arena, and Hogan and whoever his challengers were, and the tag team champions and the intercontinental champion all did the other shows, and we were selling both shows up. And then it got to be where, oh man, this is really hot. Why don't we do 2 shows on a Saturday and 2 shows on a Sunday? And hey, how about Friday afternoon? And then we'll do a Friday night. And, I remember one time, I think I wrestled 16 times in 1 week.
Oh, wow.
Jeez.
16 times in 1 week, including television.
Yeah.
That's how much we were wrestling because everything was selling out. It was just incredible.
Well, I hope you were fairly compensated.
And I wish we would have had the merchandise that they do today. They're making more money in a month than we did all year.
Well, they told you to pull the plug on your merchandise, didn't they? For was that AWA?
That's where our problem came in when I asked about my percentage of the merchandise, and I got this, don't worry, I'll take care of you. That didn't go well with my attorney and I, so we wanted to know exactly what that meant. What's taking care of him mean in percentage points, and we could never get that answer.
Right.
Well, that was the start of it, and then when they found out, of course, they didn't own Sergeant Slaughter, that really made it bad. So, but that was then, and this is now, and we're all one happy family again, and everybody learned from that.
Do you have any thoughts about what's going on right now?
Oh, that's a good question.
Sorry.
Yeah.
What was the question?
Do you have any thoughts about what's going on right now with Vince and the accusations against him?
Oh, that stuff happened 35, 40 years ago. They're just bringing it back up for some reason.
Right.
I feel, I just don't understand why they're doing that. I know who's doing it and why they're doing it. If they can't get the job done without things like that, then they don't belong in the business. They don't belong in the entertainment business. And we have enough problems without bringing stuff like that back up. I mean, he was wrong. He admitted it, and he took care of it. Now it's thrown back in his face.
Because now there's new
No, more people are coming out and saying this.
That are recent.
It just, I don't know how he sleeps at night myself, but I always regarded Vince McMahon as a very professional man, and always took care of me, other than when we went, our ways into court. But after we settled it, we shook hands, and better man. Well, I can't say the better man won, because then you know who won. But anyway, that was then. Yeah, I just don't understand why they have to do those. It happens to me too, Your mother last week showed me a picture that you sent her of some girl that was standing by me, and she said, "Who's this?" What do you mean,
What?
who's that? It's a wrestling fan. Well, how did she get so close to you? Well, she was at a wrestling match. I don't know. Well, weren't you the Super Destroyer then? Yeah. Well, you don't have your mask on. I said, well, I didn't wear it 24 hours of the day. I took my mask off.
Oh, I didn't send it to her. Somebody posted it
Somebody posted it. Yeah.
Facebook.
Yeah, on Facebook.
Of him as a Super Destroyer Mark II.
This lady,
Yeah.
I think
She
this
was
lady
just saying
posted
hello.
it.
She said hello from so-and-so in wherever she lived.
Right.
Or something. And she posted a picture of you guys.
Yeah.
And Mom got mad over it.
Yeah. She got mad over it because how come she was standing with you without the mask on? I said, I don't know. I don't know. Jesus.
You know how many pictures I take with
I don't
people?
even know who she. So anyway, that's those
Over 40 years ago.
Right.
Those things, and I feel bad that Vince has to go through it. But he's such a genius. Now, before every show, he goes out first, and they love him. The fans love him. He goes out and he trips and he stumbles. He's 78 years old, 77 years old, and he climbs up on the ropes and he trips, and they have to edit something, but he's laughing about it. And welcome to Raw, and the people got you.
People imitate his walk all the time,
and they're.
I can't do it. I've tried. I can't do it. Not even on a full bottle of liquor can I do that walk.
Yeah.
People try. There's a show I watch, obstacle show that they do obstacles on, and they, before the guys go into elimination, they do their walk.
Yeah.
But he's such an innovator, and he just said, they want to play that game, I'll just make myself. He was always the villain, Now he's the biggest hero they have on the show. People can't wait for him to hear his music. They go crazy. They can't wait for him to come out there. He said, I'll fight fire with fire. I'll just make myself more popular than anybody there is in the world. So that's what he's doing.
Well, if he's nothing else, at least. Yeah. So Steph's taking over for the interim.
Right. She took over the operations, but he's
Hmm.
still running it. Believe me.
Yeah, right. Obviously, yeah.
Just not. He just doesn't
Behind
have
the
those
scenes.
3 letters next to his name, CEO.
Hmm.
But he's got like 8,000 zeros behind his name with a dollar sign. I think that's
Yeah.
trillions,
Who
zillions.
can really know? Who can really know? But he elevated wrestling at least to a point where it was able to make billions of dollars. So
Right.
you got to give him at least that, right?
Yeah, I would love to have gone through the first 6 WrestleManias with him, but because I went with my heart and what I thought was best, I went with G.I. Joe. And I
No
don't think
regrets.
I made a bad move. I probably would have had a different outlook on the business. I'd have probably been a different character, or maybe even as he always told me, you were bigger than Hulk Hogan ever could be, but you went the other way. And I said, wait, I went the way I thought I should go. In fact, I went the way your mother told me to go. She said, what's your problem? You can always be a wrestler, but you can't always be the first living G.I. Joe. I said, that's why you get the big bucks, honey. So I went, and Vince didn't think I would. But I brought G.I. Joe to him to make it a combination.
Yeah.
To bring something new into the wrestling business, which he loved, but he couldn't do it because of the toy companies.
Contracts.
Yeah. If only they'd asked you a little bit earlier, right?
Right.
Good call, Mrs. Slaughter, on getting Sarge in on the G.I. Joe. Yeah, I think so too. All right, we've gone over time. Do you want to say some final comments on your trip to the G.I. Joe?
Was there a question we didn't get to, though? Should we get to that question and then end?
Let me go back through the
Because
chat.
there was something that you pulled up, and then I asked about Vince.
That was Josh's. Josh is a big Street Fighter fan. You can tell because he's dead set on getting Sergeant Slaughter in on Street Fighter. And he goes, Sarge, you could play yourself as General Slaughter in one of the Street Fighter movies, training Colonel Guile, Cammy, and T-Hawk in the Commandos versus General M. Bison or Cobra Commander. So
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Sounds good to me. I'll be a general.
Why not?
People keep asking me why I'm not getting promoted.
To Gaz, you are bigger than Hulk Hogan, hands down. I agree.
Thank you.
I agree too.
Do you want me to just keep going through the chat?
She wants that horse.
I want the horse I never got.
Oh, the horse. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Hogan and I did some tremendous business together, and it's just too bad we got pulled out of the LA Coliseum. No matter what anybody tells you, it wasn't because there wasn't enough ticket sales. I'll show you my check.
Okay.
But anyway, because of security reasons, we weren't able to go into the LA what do they call it? It's the Coliseum. Yeah.
I have no idea.
104,000. I mean, they've beaten it since, but with in Dallas, but it would have been a feather in our caps, and that was the only bad part of the whole thing. Going through all the things that I put my family through, and that I went through, and all that, being told that we couldn't continue and complete it.
Would have made it worth
the
payoff in the end. Yeah.
That was a real
Would have been
one.
a better payday.
Yeah, the payday was pretty good the way it was, but that was
always be better.
Yeah,
right. A couple more zeros.
But I guess they looked out for my well-being, and Vince just didn't want to spend the $5 million they wanted to secure the building. So I had to go with what he decided.
He's the boss.
That was the only letdown of the whole thing. Other than that, it was, what I went through, I put myself through. Nobody was to blame for that but me. I accepted the challenge.
So,
Stone Cold Steve Austin fun to work with?
horrible.
Really?
Real jabroni. Real, one of those guys that didn't understand the business. He thought he knew all about the business, but he didn't realize who helped him get to where he is today.
Oh, right.
And we had a few words here and there, but we since made up. I'm not saying about today's Steve Austin. I'm talking about
Back
the one
in the
that
day.
we had to work
Working with him back then, yeah.
I don't know how many stunners I took for the guy.
Yeah, right?
Never got a thank you.
Oh.
And I got yelled at a few times because I didn't lay down far enough or long enough. I thought that was quite, that wasn't
Rude.
proper, wasn't right.
Yeah, right. I was unaware of that. Yeah,
We paved,
that's not cool.
paved that golden road for him and all those that followed him. And I never will forgive him for that. But we have, shook hands and we get along, but I don't see him anymore. But when I do, we say hello. There's a couple of stories on him that he came to my rescue, basically, but that was long after he basically retired.
Right. All right, we'll go one final question before we finish up, which is ties into this, I suppose, with the commissioner gimmick.
Yeah, that's when I had all the fun times with the DX and the Heart Foundation and Stone Cold Steve Austin and everything like that. And
China.
Gorilla Monsoon was the commissioner, and he got ill, and Vince asked me if I would become the commissioner. So I did, and he said, I want you to dress, in a suit, tie. Doesn't have to always be a tie, but never wear your campaign cover, your sunglasses. Just be a commissioner and be the law, be the rules. And he said, the only problem is there are no laws, there are no rules. And don't hit anybody with a slaughter cannon or put them in the Cobra clutch. But other than that, have a good time. So, but we had a lot of fun. Back in those days, we ad-libbed everything. So it was a lot of fun. And I'm sure a lot of people remember the DX episode where they had
The goggles.
brought the
windshield
bat.
wiper.
I went out to give them some rulings and make their night miserable, and I saw two bags sitting on the apron in the ring on the mat, and I immediately looked up to see if I was going to be slimed on, and I didn't see any things up on the ceiling, and then I looked at the bags and I wondered what was in those. So then when I yell and scream, of course saliva flies out of my mouth. So I started giving them the rulings, and they said, hold it, Sarge, hold it. And they put the clear mask on, and I thought, that's kind of cute. Not really that funny, but it's cute.
That's a little
very
funny.
clever. But then when I started giving them some more business, they stopped me again, and they put the windshield wipers on. On live television, that was the hardest thing I ever had to do, was not to start laughing.
It's still so good now.
I gritted my teeth. I bit my lip. I was bleeding when I came back. And blood was running down my cheek from biting my lip so hard from not laughing. But it was
such a great moment.
A classic move on their part, and one that I'll never forget. But that's what made it fun. Is everything was ad-libbed. We didn't have scripts. We didn't.
Right.
And
so Commissioner Slaughter was
because of all the sponsors and the televisions, and Vince doesn't want to lose those, so he's got to know what the guys are saying. That's why they're scripted. You can't have somebody going out and using the F-bomb when you have McDonald's as a sponsor. So
that's true.
That's why it is that way today.
I was just going to say the Commissioner Slaughter. That's one of the genres in that attitude area where I'm not too familiar with. I've just got Gaz saying, this has been an amazing night with these two streams. Thank you, Zazel Kelly. And a salute to you, Sarge.
Oh, back to you.
Yeah.
Yo, Joe.
Great stream. Thanks all. Thanks, Hazel, for arranging. Don't thank me. Thank these two for making this happen.
Oh,
I just get
you're
to
the
sit
one that
here.
started everything.
I'm just happy to be here.
When you called that, where was it the first time you called and bought something?
One of the live streams was the very first one was for Asylum.
Oh, Asylum. That's right.
Hmm.
Exactly. That's where we first met. That'd be 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
Must be. It was at the very beginning of the lockdown period. You were supposed to you jumped in for the $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase that day,
Right.
and then you made a comment saying sorry that Ted DiBiase couldn't be here, but hopefully I will do. And I didn't have the heart to say I was actually only jumping on because you were on here.
Yeah.
Then I showed you
Ted DiBiase.
Who? $1 Million who? But
Oh
I thought if I'm going to jump on and meet Sarge for the first time, I don't want to have something that everyone else has, like a wrestling thing or a G.I. Joe thing. So I pull up this poster, which was the Zinc promotion, and boy, did I regret bringing that up because there was all sorts of tragedy behind that. I was like, oh God, what have I done?
Yeah.
A true love story. Yeah.
Oh,
I was going to say,
my
there's another
laughing
one.
is disturbing my kitten. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, but I was gonna. That was a great day. That was best day.
It was.
But I maybe
It took me a
it
while
would've
to pronounce your name right, but I finally got it.
been- Thanks.
I drilled it into his head.
Well, yeah, it's a tricky one. I was never going to correct you though, Sarge.
Yeah.
It was fine. It was never going to be an issue for me, but I appreciate fixing that up for me.
Yeah.
I'll be using that on the next Slaughterhouse Wrestling Championship. But I was going to say, just to close this one out, on the commissioner days, it was probably the one era of Sergeant Slaughter that I wasn't really familiar with, and so I went back and took a deep dive back into it, and up until the point where you do your Triple H match, the boot camp match.
Right.
And I got to say, you carry yourself very differently as Commissioner Slaughter as you do as Sergeant Slaughter, right? You walk out and you're very sort of professional. You're looking around, you're making your comments, whatever, doing your inspections, But then, so you do carry yourself very differently. But then when you come up to the boot camp match with Triple H, the campaign cover comes back on, the shades come back on, and all of a sudden it's like the drill instructor's back at you, back in your face, and the whole switch up. I thought that was a great bit of character development.
They were both different characters. As you said, the commissioner was a whole different character than Sergeant Slaughter. I was Commissioner Slaughter. I wasn't Sergeant Slaughter.
Right. Yeah. But you can tell that you're doing a different take on it, not just Sarge. Like there's some real character development there that maybe goes unnoticed. But you were there as Commissioner Slaughter. You were there for a lot of the big things that happened, including you were there at the match where the Undertaker went up against Mankind. Yep, the screw job as well.
Montreal screw job. That's a whole nother show.
Yeah. Ken is really looking forward to hearing that story. So we'll have to touch base again and go through all of that. I think
there's a lot of people.
We'll do
stories.
Another episode here on my channel. We'll have Ken on.
Yeah. Oh yeah, sounds good.
And you too, Zazel. I guess you can come.
Thanks. Well, if we do another double, like we've done today, we can start with the Commissioner Slaughter transition to Sergeant Slaughter, talk about the Triple H match, and then jump over here to talk about the screw job.
Sure.
What a great double episode that'll be.
Yeah.
A lot of stories were told about that night, but I was an eyewitness, and a lot of people just saying stuff because they wanted to act like they were part of it or were there. But I was there. I know exactly what is the truth and what's not the truth. And there's some big names in this business that opened their mouths and said that they were there, but they weren't there.
So you'll get to hear what really happened from an eyewitness.
That's right.
Make
Right
sure you
here.
subscribe.
On the Slaughter Daughter House.
That's right. Now you know.
And now you know.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for having me on your channel.
Pleasure.
Super
Pleasure.
appreciate
As
it.
always. As always.
Thanks for being here. Thanks for having us on your channel earlier. It was
Yes.
fun.
Thanks for everybody that joined in on us.
Yes.
With us.
Thanks for hanging with us.
Hope we get to do it again. And that's an order.
All right. I'm dismissed.
Don't make us come looking for you.
And Loki
Yo,
says
Joe.
bye.
Yo, Joe. And now you know.